Peter Eliades with you, Stock Market Cycles Update for Tuesday, April 14th. That was my mom's birthday, April 14th. Great lady, my mother. Anyway, few things to show you today. You know, I'm getting that feeling, and I keep telling you, forget your feelings when it comes to analyzing the market. Especially when you have tools like this. You don't need your feelings. You take a look at what you see. But I'm getting that feeling that we're very, very close to a potential top of importance. And the market's going to tell us whether that's the case or not. This is a chart of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Do you remember a couple of days ago? This was Thursday of last week. We showed you this bar with a high of 24,008.99. And then we showed you this projection, 24,037.49, and said, well, that's close enough. I mean, for practical purposes, you reach that within, 0.1%, whatever. But guess what happened today? Here's the high today, 24,040.58. Minimum projection, 24,037. So it actually got into the projection window. For a lot of people, it's, whoa, this market's just taking off to the upside. For you, the cycle projection software, you're saying, no, what it did was it actually wanted to get into the projection window, even by the slightest amount, and it did that today. So this is the nominal 20-day projection. Next, we'll look at the nominal 5-week projection. These are intraday projections. Extremes, highs and lows, not close, okay? So we had actually reached this one the other day because it only called for 23,999.14, and we got up again to a high today. 2 days ago, on Thursday of last week, we got up to 24,008.99, but today we cemented that a little bit more, getting inside the projection window here. So both of those projections on the Dow Jones Industrial Average, the nominal 20-day and the nominal 5-week projections, have been met. So what do you look at? You all know what you look at. The next longer offset, this is, we looked at the nominal 20-day and 5-week. This is the nominal 10-week. And this is determined by 24.2 and 27.6 offsets. Well, I don't have to tell you this again, but look where we are. In fact, I'm going to tell you right now that the NDX is above this red line and playing around with getting above the blue line. If that should happen, of course, you get above the second offset line, you have significantly higher projections, and in this case, just about back to the all-time highs. But in the meantime, we can say now that on an intraday and a closing, we told you before today that on a closing basis, but now on an intraday and on a closing basis, minimum upside projections have been met. The only way you can get higher projections now, let me take that back. Let's go back a step or two. There are higher potential projections within the ones that we showed you. Let me go back and just show you what I'm talking about. I think you know what I'm talking about, but the upper side of this projection calls for 24,556 rounded off. So yes, higher projections, but that's within the same offset. So this projection, nominal 5-week projection, has been satisfied on a minimal basis. You still have room for moving higher within the same projection, okay? So, but now we're looking at this as being the really important area. And this is what we have to be watching for in the next several market days, going into late this week, early next week. My guess, and again, remember, it's a guess, somewhere within here to here in the next 3 or 4 days, we're going to trail this thing down to the downside. And we might come down maybe around halfway and go up again and give a projection up to the same level that we're at now. We told you that yesterday. but I don't think we're going straight through up here to new highs, okay? All right. Let's take a look at a few technical things. There's some hourly charts I want to look at. This is IWM. That's the Russell 2000 ETF. And look what's happening here. You have a nice little channel that you came up to, not today, but this happened on April 9th. So this happened last week on the 9th. And today, we didn't quite get up there, but we've reached the top of the channel already. And perhaps more importantly, look at the RSI, a very overbought reading. In fact, this is the most overbought reading of the year. Let me do this for you. Let me bring... Here's the beginning of the year of 2020, right where my cursor is. So we have a reading actually on, may have been a little bit higher, on Jan 16. We had an RSI, it looks like up to 76. Okay? Then a lower one here, lower one. This is all the way back at the all-time highs, by the way. So now we've gotten ourselves into very overbought position again. RSI getting up to the 74 level, and now with almost an equal high today, let's bring that out a little bit so you can see it better. With almost an equal high today, significantly lower momentum on the RSI. So this is the Russell 2000. Let's take a look at the value line composite. Value line composite is one of my favorite indicators. It's an unweighted index. And look at this. The high last week was 95.01. The high this week is 93.33. So there again, we just missed matching last week's high, but a significantly lower momentum. Let's take a quick look now at the S&P. SPX.X. Look what happened on the S&P. We don't have a parallel channel. We have a wedge formation. And actually today we almost exactly hit, if you go back to the high of March 26th, through these highs on April 9th, we came up to that at the gap open today and hardly ever got higher. Let's see if we did. The high in the opening hour was 28.44, rounded off. And from that point on, 28, 38, 35, 35. Here it looks like the highest at the end here. 28, you got a little bit higher at the end. But look what happened to the momentum here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So higher highs, lower lows on the RSI, and almost a perfect RSI reading of around 30, around 70, 69.45. This is the ideal setup for some kind of market high. Okay, several people have been asking about the NDX downside projection. What's happening with it? And that's a great question to ask. Let's do it on the weekly chart because it's easier to see here. This is a 20-week offset, and this was the projection, 61, 31, 66, with a plus or minus of 64.92 down to 57.71 on the weekly. Differs very slightly from the daily. They should be right around the same. So when you take a look at those, look what's happened this week, however. This week, we see the median of the week just above this offset line. And that's something to be concerned about in terms of invalidating the upside projection. Now, what we could do was see this median getting slightly above the 20-week offset, and then within the next week or two going down again. If that should happen, then we have a new measuring point for the downside, and it might just say you're going back down towards the old lows again. So this is something we will keep an eye on so far this week. And remember, You don't count a weekly projection until the week is over. So we have 3 more days to look at, and anything could happen in those 3 days. But that's what we're looking at in terms of the NDX, a potential invalidation of that downside projection. That's where we stand. My gut feeling, sometime in the next week, folks, we're going to turn down and turn down hard. But that's a gut feeling, and the projections have not told us that as yet. So if they begin to tell us that, you'll be the first one to know. Thanks for watching. Haven't subscribed yet? Bottom right. Click on the notification bell. You'll get notified of all the updates that we do. We'll talk to you tomorrow.